Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our second session of how to sculpt a dragon. Last week we went over the sketching process, which was not mandatory. It's just a new part of the way that I work that I wanted to share with you guys, just in case anybody wanted to do the whole shebang. I think there's a lot of benefits in it. I have finished my sketch. I'm not going to push it any further, and we're going to be moving into the beginning of the creation of the actual final dragon today. With we're going to start off with the dragon's head. So arguably the most important part of your character. So this should be a step that you're taking as much time as you need to get it right. For the longest time, I would make a character, I would sculpt the body first and then the head, but I realized it's better to focus on what's most important first, make the head, make it as nice as you want it, and that way when you go to make the body, you can make the body fit the head instead of making the head fit the body. Some people do it the other way around still, and they find that to be easier. I just think it's easier to get proportions correct, because when you're working on a character's head, you're so focused on trying to get it to look how you want it to look that you sometimes you'll lose sight of the size of it, which a little bit too big or a little bit too small makes a huge difference. So I found it difficult when I would spend a bunch of time making a body that I would have to make a head not only look right but be the exact size it needed to be, which was a challenge. So I just discovered over time that for me it's easier to sculpt the head first, not worry so much about the size, and then later you can make the body fit the head, and that way it's just a much more easier process, and the way it works in my mind, because you might have to tweak the size of the body a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller to make the way you want the character to look right. So but before we jump into that, I wanted to go over, and I probably should do this each time, I wanted to make sure you guys are joining the Discord, because in the Discord is where you find all the information as far as material list for the class, any sort of valuable information. For example, like a special tool that I want you guys to get for scale making. I went ahead and I ordered this, and it will work indeed, and that's all linked on the Discord. So let's see here. Let's go. All right. So when you join Discord, you'll just _Discord in the chat will pop up a link. You click the link, you'll be able to join Discord. This is what it'll look like. Here's the rules tab. You go there and you click this little dancing icon to react to the rules, and once you've done that, it'll unlock all these channels. See, these are all individual channels, which you can look at them all, of course, but what we're interested here is the cnotbusch school section. So these channels, this is where you'll find the general class info, and you can see Colleen's done an excellent job laying it all out. So here's the general supplies list for the class. And then any added information as we go along will be posted here, so you can always find information about just general things here. And then of course we have the dragon class. That's where you post your works in progress in the dragon class, and here's where you post your works in progress in the gremlin class. And then here's a gallery where you can post your final pictures of your work. Look at those gremlins. So we'll take a look at all those today. But yeah, I just wanted to go through that because I know there's a lot of people out there that just don't really use Discord or aren't really part of it, but I'm telling you, it's really valuable a resource for you there. So okay, so let's go back to here, and we will check Discord at the end. We'll check everyone's progress and let you know how I think you're doing. And okay, let's go back here. So first, let me show you what I did for my sketch. I tweaked and changed the position of things, and I refined it a little bit more since the last time you guys saw it. So this is pretty much where we're at. Now remember, this is just a guideline, so if we decide that, and I'll do a little turnaround video of this and post it on the Discord, but if I decide that after looking at this for a while that maybe we want to change something in the final version, we can. You know, the whole point of this was to kind of go through the motions without spending all that time to make an actual finished dragon. You know, we probably, like, total time probably was about 4 or 5 hours to sketch this, and now we can really get a clear idea of what we're going for, and it'll help us make decisions moving into the actual final build. So what we're focused on here is the head. That's what we're going to focus on today, and specifically just the face. So all these horns and stuff like that, don't even worry about those. We're just going to be looking right at the face, and that's the part that we're going to try and make. We're going to make the face. Probably next session we do will be the horns. And we'll get into all that. So yeah, I think spending 2 lessons on the face would be good. Now the wings, obviously there's going to be the webbing on the wings. You didn't really feel the need to sketch that in because it's just a lot of work for, you know, I just wanted to show the kind of the general pose of the wings. So I will, yeah, I'll take a video of it and I'll post it. I'll take a video and I'll post it. Now it is worth mentioning too that this class is totally funded by you guys, the people. So if you are enjoying these classes and you're in a position to, you feel free to chip into our class fund to help stuff like this continue. So this one's kind of a test run, this class. If it goes well, then we'll just move forward like this. If it doesn't go well, then what we'll do is we'll set a goal, and then we won't actually start the class until the goal is met for future ones. But so far things have been going great, so thank you everybody who's chipped in and supported the creation of these classes, because my goal is to just make this stuff free for everybody, because I know what it's like personally to want to learn something but to be very limited as far as finances go, and it was always a bummer when there was a paywall stopping me from just learning, you know, and I never want to have to do that. So we're relying on the generosity of people that are able to chip in. So yes, thank you very much for those that have and those that will. Okay, so let's get into materials. We're just gonna kind of go through these basic materials. I mean, you saw me build the armature last week, which we will end up doing that again.
It's a lot of coin. That'll buy you quite an axe. Please come in.
Okay. Let me turn that off. So that's interrupt the class. I will go through and I will thank you guys individually, but during the duration of the class I want to have notifications turned off. That's my fault. Sorry about that. Actually, I should probably do that here too. Okay. But hey, thank you so much, Dark. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Okay. So this is galvanized steel wire. Galvanized steel. And usually you can get this at like any sort of hardware store, or you can order it online. And it comes in all kinds of different thicknesses. This is, I believe this one is 18 gauge. No, not 18. 14. I think this one's 14 and this one's 16. And you can get them in from all the way to the thickest to the thinnest. So we're gonna be using that today. This is the material we use, called Cos clay. I use the medium firm gray from the Sculpt line. And yeah, Great polymer clay. If you're following along with other polymer clays, you want to make sure you are being very careful with doing things how I do things exactly when we're dealing with, for example, like fingers, any sort of object that could break, like the horns and the fingers. This clay is actually flexible like rubber once it's cured, so you don't have to worry about parts breaking. And that's the wonderful aspect this clay offers over other ones. So that's why I think it's the best. Even if you have to pay a little more to get this, let's say you're running out a really tight budget and it's more expensive for you to get cost clay.
checks so much. I enjoy learning from you.
Oh my goodness. Hey, thank you. Hold on, I gotta make sure I get this turned off in all the scenes. There we go. There we are. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Susie. sorry guys. There's always gotta be some technical things. I appreciate that very much, Susie. Thank you for chipping in. But yeah, so if you're like overseas and it's more expensive to get cost clay, I would still get some. Save up the pennies and get some and use it just for the parts that are fragile, and use your other polymer clay for like thicker areas like the torso and the thigh, stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I would do. If I was in your position, I would still try and get cost clay and use it, but obviously ideally you would want to use it for the whole thing if you can. So, and then alongside that we have our C2 clear bond. This is the glue that we use to attach the clay to things. So anytime we're attaching fresh clay to armature or a piece of wood or baked clay, any sort of time we're adding fresh clay to a hardened surface, we want to use C2 clear bond here. Now there's alternatives to this you can use that will work fine. Like Sculpting makes their bacon bond, but they call it something different now. That would work even if you're using cost clay. And if you can't get any of this and you need something to use, you can actually use petroleum jelly. Will work as a glue or even super glue. Petroleum jelly will work in the same way. It's not as good, of course, but it'll still work in like getting it to stick. You just got to paint it on really thin, and the petroleum jelly reacts with the polymer clay and makes it kind of sticky. Now if you're going to use super glue, it's very effective at getting the clay to stick to something, but the problem is it's no longer a non-toxic object to put into the oven. So you have to really make sure, if you're going to do that you ventilate your kitchen, because it's going to create fumes when you bake it with the super glue. So but if you stick to just the clay, this is non-toxic and safe to bake, and so is the glue. So, and same with the metal, the wood, the tin foil, it's all safe to put in the oven. But so as soon as you get super glue in the mix, you just have to be careful of that. So cost clays, yeah, I know it's harder for you guys to get overseas. May I ask how much 1 pound is in the US? Czech, Germany. I believe it's like $16, somewhere around $16 for a 1 pound box. In the US, and that's because it's made here. It doesn't have to get exported, and we all know anytime something gets exported it costs more. So okay, so then we also have this stuff right here. Now this is called Steel Stick, made by JB Weld, and it's a steel reinforced epoxy putty. So essentially this stuff it's just so applicable. You can use it for so many different things. It's a material, it looks like this. It's made up of two parts, an A and a B, and all you do is you you take it and you slice a chunk off. It's already pre-measured, and you mix it up, but you'll want to wear a glove when you mix this stuff, and it's gonna have a nice, lovely smell of flowers, if you will, while you're mixing it. But once you mix it up, it will start to cure, and it'll cure in 5 minutes. So the idea is here you use this to kind of to get things to like, it's like the duct tape of sculpting. You can use this to make frames stronger. You can attach pieces with it. You can do all kinds of things with this. But when it cures, it's very, very durable, very hard material. So it's really great for a lot of things. So, and I believe that'll be everything we'll use today, as far as materials. Tools, of course, we're gonna use probably a drill. Yeah, hey, thank you everybody who's chipping in, by the way, for the class. I will, when we get done with the class, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna read those messages and thank you properly, okay? So don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm just trying to stay on task during the class, and then we'll take care of that afterwards, because we got to cover a lot in a short amount of time, so we got to keep this show rolling. So let's see here. So we'll need a drill. We use a drill to spin the wire, to like twist it really nicely. We also use a drill to drill into the pieces of wood to attach the armature. A drill is just a useful tool. If you cannot get a drill, you can obviously live without it. It's just one of those, it's really nice to have and is a very useful tool. And usually you can find drills for a relatively cheap price. You don't have to buy a new one. You can go find a used old drill that that somebody dropped off at the thrift store that still works. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think my first drill, yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was like it was an old drill that somebody had laying around in their garage that they didn't use, and I asked if I could have it, and they gave it to me for free. That was my first drill. But for a long time, I didn't use a drill, and this is why I think I love my story, is because I really started with none of these tools, none of the fanciness, no money, so I was really working from the ground up. So I know how to get by without these things. So you need a drill in your life, period. Yeah, it's a useful tool to just have around the house. But anyways, if you don't get a drill, there's other ways you can do it. You're probably gonna need at least a screwdriver, and you're gonna need some hand strength. But you can twist the wire by hand. You can attach the wire to the base by hand screwing in a screw to like hold the wire down. I've gone 33 years without one. It's time. It's time. Don't be stubborn. Yes, okay, drill. And then we have our sculpting tools. We have all kinds of different sculpting tools, which, like I said, you'll find links to stuff in the Discord. This is my main shaper. It's just a piece of wood. It's just a wooden stick, really, that has a lot of smooth ends with different shapes. Now, tools, you don't have to get exactly what I have, because tools is a very personal choice type of thing. So just try to get as many. It could be household objects that you could use as tools. It doesn't even have to be things that you buy. But tools, typically tools are very cheap and easy to get. This one I use all the time. This is just my favorite. And as you're working and you're learning, you're gonna just experiment and use different tools and try them out and find which one you'll start to get a sense of that you're just kind of naturally grabbing one tool over the others, and that'll become kind of your main shaping tool. But the whole point of this tool is to do the blending and the shaping and the big forms. It's kind of doing the same job as what your fingers do, because you use your fingers the most, and then this is to kind of get into those harder to reach areas. And the whole idea is just to blend and shape with stuff like this. And then you get into like doing details. And I really like ones like these ball styluses. They have all kinds of different sized ends. And then this one I use probably the most for detail work. Which it's funny because it's literally just a skinnier, smaller version of the wooden one. Really, if you look at the ends really closely. And this is from a wax carving tool set where you get a bunch of these with different various ends on them. You know, like this one's got little pokies, and you'll find you'll have tools that you just never use. You just really don't like using, and you'll never use. You might not use it now, but hang on to it because you might want to use it later. You know, this is just an old palette knife. I use this one all the time. Now, there is a tool I do want you guys to get specifically for this class. It's this one I use here. And it's like it's almost like a subtly rounded spoon, very subtle. And what this one is really great for is making scales very easily, making scales. Now, this is a surgical instrument that was gifted to me by someone from the stream. We did some research, and I think it was Shelly on stream found a set of tools, wax carving tools. I think it was about $10. It comes with all kinds of different ones, and this is one of them in there, and it's very, very similar, pretty much the same as this. Now, I did use a little file, and I filed the ends because you want the end to kind of come to a point. So don't be afraid to use files and sandpaper to really make the ends how you want them to be. But yeah, so that's all linked in the Discord, so you guys can get something like this. If you get something really close to it, it'll still do the job. I just want you to have something like this, where it's very rounded off on this side. This side wasn't rounded when I first got it. You can see over here is not filed down, but I went ahead and I filed it and rounded off the edge there. So yeah. So that's tools, and of course there's like X-Acto knives. It's always nice to have an X-Acto knife with extra blades, a nice sharp knife. Brushes, you're gonna use any brushes you no longer use for painting. Hang on to them and they'll become your clay brushes. This is for like spreading glue. This is for using the alcohol, which I should say. The other thing is another material is isopropyl alcohol. Now this is 95% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. You can get 75% and use it. It's gonna react slower and it's gonna take longer for it to do what it does. This is higher percentage, so what does this do? This dissolves the surface of the clay. So when you brush it on, it will kind of melt the clay, and that allows you to really smooth things out, to round off edges. It takes the edge off, literally. So so just go get some, at any sort of like Walgreens or any place that sells Band-Aids and stuff like that usually has isopropyl alcohol. What kind of alcohol is that? It's isopropyl. Isopropyl alcohol is what you want to search. Yep. And like I said, that's 95%, and that's just what I use. There's other solvents you can use to dissolve the clay and do the same thing. Like a long time ago, I used to use mineral spirits, and actually the very first thing I ever used was nail polish remover, which can do the trick too. But the isopropyl alcohol is it doesn't really have much of an odor. It's fairly safe to be around all the time, yeah. Because mineral spirits, I used to use odorless mineral spirits, but that's not okay to be around all the time. So that's one of the reasons I switched. Tape measure calipers. It's not necessary. You can use the cheap version, which is finger calipers, right here. Everyone comes equipped with a set of finger calipers. Now, what is a finger caliper? It's for measuring. So I can put my fingers like this, and I can hold them like that, and then I can compare it and measure. Say, okay, this supposed to be the same size as this? And this is how we tell if the sizes of things are where they need to be. Or you can invest in a set of actual calipers. That's what they're called, calipers. And essentially what you do is you're using it to compare the sizes of things to make sure that things are the right size. So like, for example, we're going to be making the head of our character here first. And once you have the head, you can use the size of the head and compare it to making the body. And that's how we can figure out, okay, how big does the body need to be? You can use a piece of string. You can use a stick that you make marks on. Be creative. Another tool you might see me use, which is really handy, and I think you guys should get some of these. They're called hemostats, and what they are is they look like pliers, but they have a locking mechanism here. And what this does is it lets you grab onto something like a piece of wire and really holds on. It's not going anywhere. And this just gives me something to hold on to that's not a skinny piece of wire, which can be very uncomfortable to use. And then what it also does is it lets us set that down in the oven just like this to bake it, so it can hold things. You can use them to hold things in the oven because it's all metal, so this is totally oven safe to use. So hemostats, also relatively inexpensive to get a set of these. I think that's pretty good. Piece of wood, of course. We won't need that today, but we will need another piece of wood for the final version. Okay. I think we covered most of the tools. Tools, materials, and all that stuff. So let's actually get into the work for today. So, oh yeah, I almost forgot. Another really important material is, where is that around here somewhere? Tin foil, or aluminum foil. So we use this as a bulking material for building out our shapes before we, so you don't have to use a ton of clay to make larger things. It's nice. Tinfoil is nice because it's sculptable. It's heat tolerant, and really it's pretty strong especially when you compact it down. So, and it's lightweight. So a lot of benefits to using tinfoil as a bulking medium. So, which today we're going to be starting our character's head with some foil. I got this loosely crumpled foil ball here, and we're going to look at a reference. And what we want to do is we want to create a foil core, almost think of it like a skull, but we don't want to make it so big that we're running into the foil. We want to make it to fill the inside, but not too much that we're gonna, be bumping into it, which you can see I did on the sketch right here. There's some foil right there. It's always really annoying to have to bump into the foil. So let's begin here. I'm gonna try to sculpt or shape the basic head shape. And like I said, I don't want it to be too big, so we're running into it. It's better to make it smaller. You'll just have to use more clay if you do. think that'll become kind of the neck. I'm just going to use this foil as a as the armature for the neck. You could insert a piece of wire. We could also add a piece on the front where the nose will be, if we want to. Yeah, I probably should. Let me grab another piece. Now, attaching pieces can be a little bit hard with the foil. It'll kind of want to come undone. I had another piece around here somewhere. You can use hot glue to get the foil to stick a little bit better. There it is. I'm just going to try and wrap it so I don't have to use the hot glue. The problem with the hot glue is when you bake the sculpture, the hot glue could drip, so you have to be careful. But I'm just going to use this foil here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap it here. Grab a piece. And I'm going to take this is just a ball with the neck. And we're just going to take this, just making sure we're filling out the volume enough. It's definitely enough, but it's not too much, so we'll have room to work. So I'm going to take it like this. And I'm just going to wrap around and bring the excess oil to the front of the snout, where that snout will be. I'm just going to kind of twist it, pack it tightly, and then I'm going to cut it. And use just scissors, or I have these wire strippers. Probably about this much. When in doubt, cut it longer and then look at it. It's usually harder to add than it is to subtract. This is just an armature here. There we go. That's kind of our skull to our dragon. A flying duck, that's right. Okay, so next we want to take our clay. Here's the clay, how it looks nice and conditioned. Right? But when you get it out of the box, it's not like that. It's more like this. It'll kind of be a little bit crumbly and it'll break easy. So you have to condition it, which conditioning is just essentially kneading it or squishing it around. And the more you knead it and squish it around, kind of the smoother it gets, the softer it gets, just like this. So every polymer clay has this. When it's out of the box, it has to be conditioned, and some are more crumbly than others. So it'll be really crumbly at the beginning, but the more you squish it around, the smoother it gets. And there you go. So you can do it by hand like I just showed you, or here's another luxurious sculpting item that can come in handy for a lot of reasons. This is a pasta machine. We can use the pasta machine to do the work for us. So all we're doing is cranking the lever. The pasta machine is also great for making nice, consistently thickness pieces of clay. So say we're making like belts for a character or something like that, we can roll out a nice even layer and cut it into strips, and then there we go, we got perfect foundation for some belts. So I usually use it, I'll take my block of cast clay, I'll cut it into chunks like this, and then I'll just feed it through the pasta machine a few times, and then it's ready to go. So let's just do that really quick here. I got it set to a really thin setting so it really squishes it. I can just run it through only once or twice. I'm also going to use this to make just a sheet of clay that we can cover the piece with initially. Now you can do this all with your fingers, like I said, or your hands, no problem. It's just going to take you longer, that's all. Okay, so now we have this. Add it to our other chunk. That should give us enough clay for today. Do they sell preconditioned clay? No. No, it's just a part of the manufacturing. They do not sell preconditioned clays. Now there's ways to make conditioning easier. Say you don't have a pasta machine and you're doing it by hand. You can, if you can warm the clay up without baking it, but warm it up, it'll make it easier because it is an oil-based clay. So if you heat up the oils, it's easier to squish around. So one of the ways you can do that is you take a bowl of water, or you take a bowl, turn your water on as hot as it'll get from the tap, fill the bowl up, put the clay in there either with a bag or without. I'd probably say with a bag so it doesn't get all wet. It wouldn't hurt it if it gets wet, but it's whatever. And then leave it in there for like 5 to 10 minutes. Take it out and then start conditioning it, and it'll be much, much softer. So people use food processors even, you know. Go to the thrift store, buy like an old food processor and use it for clay or something like that. I find just using a pasta machine is fine. Now I'm gonna change this to the thickest setting here. I'm just gonna roll this through here. There we go. Now we're gonna take our armature here and we're gonna add some clay glue. Maybe a little bit more here. And we want the clay glue to be spread thin. If it's really thick, it's going to make the clay slide around and have an opposite effect. Now the clay glue is like a liquefied version of the clay. So the reason it helps it stick is it essentially liquefies the clay once it goes into contact with it. Almost like how slip, if you ever used ceramic clay, how slip works with ceramics. It's the same kind of idea. So the glue itself doesn't dry. It's when you bake the project, that's when it'll cure alongside the clay. So okay, now we're gonna take our sheet of clay here. Again, you could have done this with your fingers. Doesn't have to be perfectly even. We're just kind of getting a base kind of layer of clay down. That's what we're doing here. Foundation. Now when you get this on here, you just want to make sure there's no air bubbles. You want to really push it down. This doesn't have to be pretty, or we'll make it look pretty. Think of this like a foundation to your house. You just want it to be really sturdy, really, you want to make sure it's really attached. Make sure it's not slipping around on the armature. Because once you get into the sculpting, the details and the building of the character, the last thing you want to be doing is messing around with the piece slipping around on the armature. So okay, so I'm just really pushing the clay around, make sure it's really on there. This will give us our foundation. Now I want you to notice the shape we have here, and we're trying to keep this as symmetrical as we can. You know, it's not perfect, but you can see it's not lopsided on one side or the other. So you have to really make sure that that you're doing that it's not if you start off with a piece of foil that's lopsided or misshapen, when you add this initial layer of clay, it's going to be misshapen, and it's just something you're going to battle all the way through. So just try to make sure that it's you know, that starting tinfoil ball is indeed a ball. So there we go. And when you're trying to think of how to make the initial shape, let's see, I think I should have a reference here. Every complex shape of anatomy or character or whatever it is can be broken down into like simplified shapes. Let me see if I can find a, I don't know if I have one here, so let's see. You see illustrators when they do kind of like initial sketches or breakdowns where they simplify the shapes, and we're doing the same thing but we're doing it three-dimensionally. So like here is what I'm talking about, how you can identify the circle here. You know, it's just like we did. We started with a tinfoil ball and then we added this cylinder on the front. So tinfoil ball with the cylinder is the basic shape of a dragon. So let's see if there's any or like this, you know, like I always love stuff like this. Just it helps you really understand what we're trying to make. And when you start your character, when you start in your piece, think of these shapes. You're trying to go, if you can nail this shape, then you can refine it into the complex shape, you know, and it'll look good. But you have to have that fundamental basic shape down first. So let's see if there's any other ones. This is why I love Pinterest. Oh yeah, here's another great one. Stuff like that. It's like you're reading someone else's notes. Someone else, they took the time to like mentally crunch and figure out, okay, what shapes is this complex shape made out of? And then this, by looking at this illustration, we're able to understand their conclusions essentially. So yeah, super helpful stuff. Okay, so let me, oh, actually, you know what, I want you guys to see this one too. Look at that. Now tell me that's not exactly what we just did, but with tinfoil, right? We started with our ball of tinfoil. We added on this muzzle part on the front, and now we're adding the clay, and we're gonna start building these secondary shapes, which is like the jaw, the eyebrows. You know, these are all secondary shapes, but the primary shapes are these two just main bodies. You know, and that's the more you kind of go through this process, the more your mind will automatically do this, where you look at a reference of something, the first thing my mind's doing is simplifying it into basic shapes, and then we go out from there. So we start from the most simple form and we work our way to the most complex. So okay, pull back up our main reference for the dragon class here. Okay, so now that we have our foundation here, we're gonna create our lines, our guidelines. Now, it's kind of like a center line. We want a center line going up the middle this way, and we can do a line this way for like maybe the eye line. But usually it's just, we just want a nice center line here. So I'm just eyeballing it. And I'm just gonna draw the center line. And this will really help you see, once you draw this line, kind of where things need to be shifted around, how things need to be changed. There we go. So that splits it into the two sides. Let's see. Let's see if we got the nose. Nose is right here. We can do a little line there. We'll do the maybe the eye line right here. And almost like when you're sketching, you're staying very loose with this step. So I could see the lips. The lip will have to be right there, which means we need to add more for the jaw. So that's okay. That's good. Now, one thing I'm going to do too is I'm going to figure out, now that I have this center line, I can figure out the spacing of the eyes. So we can go right here. And then all I'm looking at is the distance from here to here, and I'm just going to copy it over here. You can measure it all if you wanted to, or you can eyeball it. And that's the corner of each of the eye. And then I can do another line that's the width of the eye. Right there, and I can now just copy the same distance over the other side. And this just kind of helps you get everything spaced out properly. Now I'm just going to kind of create a little indentation. Think of it like a skull. You know, we're building the skull first. Now we're obviously running into the foil there, so we're gonna build the face outwards. We're gonna add more mass to the eyebrows and the snout and all that stuff. So this is just giving us a baseline here. Alright, so let's see. Next thing I'll do is now we're gonna start kind of building out our secondary shapes. So I'm gonna add some mass here on the top of the nose. Blend that straight down. Don't worry about covering up your line. You can we can reestablish it later. Okay. Let's add some to the side of the face here. So I'm looking at the shape of our sketch here. And he's got kind of a whiter face going on. Don't get too caught up in like the blending of all these masses. You just kind of want to be adding mass, you know, one piece at a time, partially blending it in. You know, like this here. You don't want to waste a bunch of time blending each piece in perfectly just to realize you need to add more, or you need to take away some, you know. So, thanks to our center line, I can tell he's a little bit more on this side. It's best to start with a thin layer and add, because I find adding to be easier than subtracting. So you always want to try and work your way up by we're adding, and then we get to a point where we're we get to a point where we're just refining what we've added or moving around what material's already there. All right, let's bulk up the eyebrows here a little bit. That layer that we added at the beginning, its only job is to just cover the foil and to give us, because the clay sticks to itself really well, you know, it just gives us a like a foundation, a place to kind of stick things. Okay, now I'm gonna bring the eyebrow to the bridge of the nose here. I'm just gonna add a piece for the bridge of the nose. That. Going straight to the tip of the nose. Add more to the kind of the jaw or the cheekbone area here. Push this out a little bit. And try to go back and forth. Try not to get stuck on one side. I used to do that for a long time. You get in this habit of like hyper fixating one side and making it look really good, and then you realize you have to do the whole other side, and it can be frustrating to try and match it up. So just try to do, especially in this early stage, try to stay very loose and just go back and forth between the two sides. There we go. So we brought those cheekbones out a little bit. And I can see he needs some on his bottom jaw. If we're looking at a reference, we got the nose line here. The lip is about right there. And then that's the jaw, the bottom jaw. Which we need a little bit more. Actually, I can see even this is lower than this, so let's add some there. We're essentially doing the same thing we did when we sketched, or you're staying very loose, almost like think of it like the sketch. And then but the difference is this one you're gonna allow yourself to really finish it. You know, you're gonna really take it all the way and refine it to the end. Just adding some mass to the top of the head there. And if you don't have the sketch, you'll have to you're exploring, you're doing the exploration and the finishing in one kind of go. So stay loose, don't be afraid to explore different shapes. Don't get so attached or tight on the work too early, or you're afraid to make any drastic changes or moves. Okay. At this stage, I feel like I've added enough of the big lumps of clay that I feel that would need to start refining. So what we're gonna do is, the first thing I'll do is I'll take this tool here, your shaping tool, your smoothing one, whatever you feel confident smoothing with. Could even just use fingers, to be honest. And we're just going to bring all these lumps of clay together. Sometimes it's easier with a tool, like this because I can blend these lines without altering the shape too much. Sometimes with your fingers, you're able to blend, but you're also changing the shape. And also using like a flatter edge like this, I'm able to establish this plane. See that? Make this flat spot right here. And then I can do the same. I can roll it around. Kind of the top of the nose has that plane going there, but then the side drops down like this. So we're thinking very planar. Imagine, like, you know, when digital artists are working and the early stages of the model are just like geometric shapes. You can Control Z. It just takes longer. It's just not as quick in the traditional world. You most certainly, you can make it, you can undo it. You can unmake it. It's the classic parent Control Z statement. I brought you into this world, I can take you out. So we're just gonna go around and, like I said, we're just smoothing in these shapes. See, and when you work, like when you're thinking of the planes and you're trying to establish the plane, you can see that there's just not enough material here to fill in this hole. That's when you know you need to add a little bit more. That if you would try to blend that, it would become too deep. It would get rid of the line we're trying to go for here. I can even see that we might even need to add even a little bit more. That was already on that road to getting kind of too deep. Your fingers just really do the best job at really getting a nice, smooth, level surface. Now, here's the thing: when you're smoothing with your fingers, you should be reading the surface like almost like Braille, where as you're gently going across the surface, you can feel the divots, you can feel the spots where it goes down or up, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to pull the high spots into the low spots. And if there's not enough high spots, then you need to add clay. So that's essentially when you're trying to smooth things out, that's what you're doing. So I find a good example. You know, like right here, I can feel that it goes really in right there. See this little area? This little divot? I can feel that. Now I can grab with the the tip, just the very tip of my thumb, and I'm just gonna grab and I'm gonna pull. Let's see, I've pulled this bump up here into there, and it's made a nice flat plane. So that's why you also want to go in different, you have to go in different directions sometimes, because like for example here, the excess material is right there, and the divot or the concave is right here. So we need to push it this way. So that's why I'll do this motion here. See, it's pushing that excess material right in there. This bump area here is a little bit too bumped up, so I'm pulling it towards the middle here. Just kind of spreading it around. Filling the valley, knocking down the hills and filling the valleys. See, and then you can see the establishment of this plane underneath here. You're attached to it in a different kind of way. Well, you can see we have just a generic dinosaur, dog, animal with a snout thing here. Don't worry about how it looks right now. Well, we want to make sure what I'm focused on isn't even how it looks. It's the symmetry, the shapes, the planes, you know. The better kind of foundation we give ourselves, the easier it will be. You know, when you look at it from here, you can see it's pretty symmetrical. From there, you can see, okay, this needs to go in a little bit more. Yeah, that looks pretty good. From here is looking pretty good. You gotta check it from all the sides, you know. And the more kind of meticulous you are in the early stages, the easier it is late as you get further down the road. So blend in these eyebrows next. Now we're staying focused on just the face, right? Just the front of the head. So all the back of the head, the horns, all that stuff, that's gonna come in another layer. So don't worry about that. Just worry about making this face look really nice. We can change the shape of the head. We can add, we can remove, we can change all kinds of things later. So right now I'm just mostly focusing on getting this front part, this face looking really nice. Okay, now that we've blended everything in, let's go ahead and redraw our center line. Yep. And let's see here. I can see on this side, you can see, look, when you point it, it looks symmetrical, but when you point something out, it's going to become very clear. Now look at the way that this cheekbone bumps up. Look at the silhouette of it, and look at this side, and look at how it doesn't bump up in the same way here. So you got this one here, and this one's not there. So you need to ask yourself when you're looking at these situations, do I need to remove this or do I need to add here? That's the thing we're gonna ask ourselves. And you can just look, you can just cover one side and look like that, and then cover the other side and look like that. And we can see a difference in the silhouette. I can actually see that this can be pulled up like this. I can create some of that, but it still needs more. So I'm going to take some clay here. I'll flatten it out like a pad. Always add less than you think you need. It's very easy to over add. It's better to add less and then add a little bit more, you know, than it is to add too much and then have to remove, you know. And when you go to add a piece of clay, before you even smooth it in like I did, just stick it on there, you know, just like say I wanted to add to the jaw, like here. Make the little piece of clay, stick it on, and then look at it and see how that's working. And if it looks good, then you smooth it in, you know, then, because before you smooth it in, it's easy just to unstick it and just take it off, you know, just like you added it on. I can also see, if you look at the silhouette, this is higher than this right here, right? Yeah, you can totally make stuff out of that black jam, as long as you're okay never having a finished product. Totally fine. Okay, so I'm just gonna add this little chunk of clay. I'm gonna look at it, say, okay, does that look good? Yeah, it does. So I'm just gonna blend it in. Now that's the same as that. Yeah, I mean, the clay we use for the sketches never hardens either. So you can totally do the same thing. Okay, so I'm noticing here is a little bit... This kind of comes out a little bit more than here. Always be turning and looking at the work from different angles. So this is flatter and this is more bulged out. So let's flatten this up a little bit. It's better. Now, it's going to be a little bit frustrating for you guys but really embrace the battle of symmetry. And also take breaks, you know, getting up and stepping away for 15 minutes and then coming back to it. You get what's called the fresh eyes effect, where you will see the shapes really clearly without bias. Sometimes when you're working on it, you don't really see something that's obviously off because you kind of develop some sort of a bias, get attached to the work. So the battle of symmetry, that's right, and it is a battle, but you know, don't let that stop you. The more you fight the battle, the better you get at fighting the battle, right? So In other words, get coffee from time to time. Yeah, don't just try and churn it out like I am, because I'm trying to demonstrate this in one sitting, you know. But normally when I sculpt a character's head, it usually will take me like, I would say, probably it can take, you know, any 5 to 10 hours to do a head, depending on the head. So if it's taking a lot, always remind yourself this is the most important part of the character, is the head. So we want to take all the time we need. Don't worry about the time. Slay the symmetry. Claim victory. The battle for symmetry is always there. You just get better at fighting it. You're never gonna reach a place where it's like there's just no symmetry battle. There is an allowable amount of asymmetry, though. That's worth noting. That even the most symmetrical thing in nature is still not perfectly symmetrical. But we want to get it to that threshold where it can't really be, it's not obviously unsymmetrical, you know, so. Okay, so at this point, I've pushed it, you push it further and further and further, and then you get to a point where it's like, okay, we need to add more features in order to push this further. So the next big feature I want to add is going to be the lip line. So let's figure out where this lip line goes, and we're just gonna add it in, and that will help us keep pushing it further and further. So notice the beginning was a ball with a cone on the front, right? That was the foil. Then we did the secondary shapes, which are like the eyebrows, the cheekbones, the top of the head, the jawline. Those are all the secondary shapes. Now we're gonna start working into smaller shapes, even smaller. So let's first just kind of figure out where this line needs to go. Probably more like this, and that goes up like that. And then kind of like this. Let's put that on the other side. So when I'm trying to do like the angle of this line, look at where it points to. So this line points directly towards the corner of the eye here, this corner. So when I'm on the other side here, all I gotta do is measure this distance. Okay, so it starts about right there. And now all I gotta do is point this line directly here, and then I have my angle. See? So that's how those little tips and tricks is how you really can deal with the battle of symmetry easier, is having like points of reference like that, where it'll get you in the ballpark. Otherwise you're like trying to figure out which direction this line goes. The subtle change of the angle can make a huge difference. And then I look at it from the front and I can see where does the curve, where does the curve change? That's right there. I just draw a line straight across. So that's where it goes to changing like here. Kind of like that. So. And see, now that we've put this mouth line in here, we can see, you know, actually I think this distance should be a little bit shorter. Like that. Yeah, embrace the ugly stages of your guys' pieces, because it will have ugly stages. You have to push through those times. Okay, so once we get the line very close to what we want, as we add that feature in, you can start to see, you'll start to see little spots that need to be changed, like this cheekbone and this cheekbone are not quite the same, but that's okay. We'll fix all that. So now in my sketch, I have the upper jaw above the lower jaw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tip of this tool here, and I'm just going to essentially cut this material away. That's going to create that overlap. Just pushing the flat side down, and we're just moving along our line here. Probably needs a little, even a little bit more there. Now the corner of the eye and the corner of the mouth, this, if you draw a line straight up, they kind of touch. So we're just going to use that and just double check how we're doing. And we're doing good there. Just gonna take my finger and go across that little corner that we created, this little corner between the planes, and I'm just gonna get rid of it. All right, next feature I want to establish before we get into any more adjusting of the shapes is the nostrils. So let's see here, kind of like in line. It looks like in line with the corner, the inside corner of the eye. If I was to draw a line straight up. Inside corner of the eye is kind of like right here, so I'm gonna start right there, and I'm just gonna flare it up. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that on the other side here, looking at the distance from here to here, and I can easily figure out where it needs to be over there. Starting to look like a dragon. Now see, on this side, this plane is nice and flat, but on this side, it's not. It has a little divot in there. You'll start to see these little differences now, because as we kind of get closer, we're honing in. Those little subtle changes can become more obvious. Also, the shape of this jaw, a little bit different. There we go. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of a, almost like a cheek here. Take a little clay sausage like this. Almost like a little smile mark. Just like that. And then smoosh it down flat. Now I'm gonna leave this seam line here. I'm not gonna smooth in this side. I'm gonna smooth in all the other sides. I'm just gonna use that natural line that the layering adds on there. Yeah, I mean, it adds a friendly note to the dragon for sure. If our dragon was not a cute, friendly dragon, we would probably make a different choice here. But we can already see just how much that little touch will add. So at this point, I'm gonna stop working on this side of the face and I'm just gonna work on this side. So do as I say, not as I do, because I'm just trying to demonstrate. But essentially I wanna go through how we're going to bring this to the finish line, but I can't, we don't have enough time for me to do both sides. So I'm just gonna do, because normally I would do, next step would be to do this cheek thing over here and just going back and forth, back and forth. But we're just gonna stay focused on this side. And I want to just kind of show you guys how to bring it all home. So let's see here. Pretty happy with the shapes of all of this. Let's go into the corner of the eye here, and we'll really push the corner of the eye out like this, straight to the nose. I'll create that kind of like that ridge line there. I think I'll even add a little bit of clay to bring that out more. Right here. We push, you want to hold off doing details, and we just want to push the shapes further and further and further until we just feel like we can't push the shapes anymore, and then we'll allow ourselves to do details and textures. It's so easy to slip into where you just kind of rush through this stage and you just want to get to those details and those textures, but you have to resist that urge. Really take the time to make sure that these shapes are looking good. Okay. Kind of curl the corner of the eye like that, see that? Kind of, and then curl it down like this. Creates that kind of spot where the eyebrows meets the cheek there. That's a really good idea there, Red Ticket. Really good project idea. And I can even add, so we have this mass here, and then what we could do is we can add like a, kind of like where the wrinkling is happening in the middle there where it meets. Just add that piece. I'm blending it in, but I'm not, I want to keep the line. So that's why I'm using the tool here, and I'm just gonna getting rid of the seam line between the pieces of clay. So I want that shape to still be there. let's look at the nose here a little bit. And so the closer we get into kind of wanting to do the details and like really figure things out, like the nose and whatnot, the more we're going to want to look at reference and start grasping little kind of picking out little details that we like. For example, we can make the nose look more like kind of like a mammal nose, where it's got the, you know, the way the lines, the way the nostril kind of curls in can be like a mammal nose. Just adding a little bit more, a bit of a more of a nose flare there. I just want to blend that in. You notice the last feature that I'm really pushing off is putting in of the eyes. So that's going to be the most crucial part. Even pinching it, giving it a nice little pointy shape there. Again, you guys should be going back and forth from one side to the next with all this stuff, okay? Do as I say, not as I do. I would be doing the same if I was making this not as a class. You know what? Because I'm gonna add a little bit of teeth here. Like, I want to create even a little bit more of an indentation under here, so we have some room for those teeth. Now we could add those now, but they'd be in the way once we do. So usually stuff like the teeth, adding of these teeth, we want to wait until after the texturing is done. Always are having to kind of texture around them. But I think at this stage I would probably start actually considering adding the eye in. So there's all kinds of different ways we can do an eye. You could add a like a bead. We want the eyes on our dragon to be a bit bigger than they probably normally will be. If it was a smaller eye, it's look more serious. It'll look more real. But a bigger eye is more, you know, more cute, more like a baby dragon. So that obviously, that's a bit too small. And then we have to decide if we want to do eyelids or not. But let's see. The mask that we add here is very easy to add too much. So just kind of take your time, really pick out the right amount of clay here, because we're just gonna add a little chunk of clay. Okay. Less than you think you need, because then we'll take the tool we're gonna use for making scales here, and I'm just gonna take this and putting that flat side right up against it, and then I'm gonna push down and kind of curve in. See that? I just did that. And I'm gonna do it on the other side. That helps to go upside down so I can keep the same motion, right? If I kept it right side up, I can't really do the same motion here. But flip it upside down, and I'm just gonna push that flat side down, and I'm just gonna define where the eyeball ends, just like that. Okay, and now we just need to do the upper and lower. I'm just gonna kind of slide the tool and push down like this. And we'll really make that look better once we add in eyelids. So push this up. You can see that kind of ball developing there, right? Of course, we want to get rid of these geometric edges. I'm just very gently kind of tapping those edges so it's more ball-like. You just get it as close as you can because we can also brush with the alcohol. And now I always like to sculpt the eye in. I've had phases where I just leave the eye blank and then paint the eyeball in, but I find it's easier to get it to look right now in the sculpting phase. The eyes, right? Now keep in mind, so all you gotta do, if you can establish the corner here and the corner here just like I did, and you do the same thing on the other side, you're just measuring this distance and you should be very close, and then also making sure that the top line and the bottom line line up, you know, to make the eye symmetrical. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this ball stylus, about that size right there, and I'm gonna establish the pupil of the eye. And sometimes you have to do this a few times, but I'm just looking at my reference here and I'm just gonna try to copy what's going on there. And there we go. Just gonna push it in like so. Yeah. And I'll just do that. That's all I'll do is just put in the pupil. That gives me something to work from when either me or the missus are painting. I could make it a little bit bigger. Let's actually do that. I'm using the bigger end here. And I'm just gonna go right in the middle. You want that to be nice and clean. Nice clean shape. Because now I can use that when I'm painting a three-dimensional shape. It's gonna be so much easier to get that to look really nice when we're painting. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I'm gonna do just a subtle little bit of an eyelid on the bottom. You don't want to do too much because it'll make the dragon look too really old, you know. So, but we're just gonna add a nice little strip on the bottom of the eyelid here. Gonna put it in place and then we'll blend it in. Blend that in. Now, I think I want the eyebrow to be up more, so I'm gonna grab it with my thumb and I'm just gonna push up. Not touching the eye. I will extend the eye a little bit upwards, so I'm just gonna use our tool here. Establish that line. Okay, now I think I might use the material that's already there for the upper eyelid. I could add just like we did at the bottom here, or you can do it this way, where if there's enough material up here, we can just take this tool, and I'm just going to push. Now the eyelid actually has some thickness to it. We naturally think the eyelid is like paper thin, but it's not. You want to see the bottom edge of the eyelid. See that? See how we added that thickness? Okay. Now, feel free to bounce around, like push the eye. See, we just pushed the eye quite a bit, right? Now, at this point, we could bounce around to another part of the face, which I think we will. So we don't want to bring the eye to the finish line and then leave the rest behind, right? So we've caught the eye up to everything else we get going here. So now we're gonna just bounce around here, and let's see here. I could see there being kind of like this line going here. Add a little bit to the eyebrow, kind of where the corner. I want that corner of the eyebrow to be out a little bit more. So I'm just going to add some material up here. Okay. So you can see how we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller with the shapes, and we're just getting to the point where you're just getting you'll get to the point where it's like the shapes are so small that you're just making marks into the surface, and that's the detailing stage. So we're not establishing detail, we're just pushing those shapes smaller and smaller. Let's see here. Could see establishing that kind of line right there. The inside of the nose. We're writing this line between, you know, cute, but also it's a dragon, you know, so. Okay. So this is this point. This is the point I want you guys to get your piece to on both sides, where you've pushed the shapes really far. Don't do any scales, any details, okay? None of that. I want nice clean surfaces. And so I will push this, just the shaping, just like we've been doing, till it's to the point where I feel like I need to do details. And which we're pretty close to there on this, just a little bit more. And then what we'll do is I'll get the other side caught up for homework, and then we will continue next week with our shaped up faces, and we're gonna jump right into doing the details. And yeah, so next week will be face details, where we'll do the texture, all the different kinds of texture we want to do on the face, and we'll add in the teeth, and then we'll talk about doing the horns. Now, yeah, we'll have to think about how we do that, because normally what I will do is, the way I work is, we will texture and do this face to the finish line, and then once that's done, we'll bake it, we'll cook it in the oven. And then when we take it back out, we will be able to add more. We'll add like the back of the head and the horns and stuff like that. So maybe I'll have to do some sort of trickery. Maybe I'll have to demonstrate the details and the horns kind of all in one go. Maybe. Or maybe we'll work on the details next week, and then we'll go from there. We'll figure it out. So I could even see where we do, I demonstrate the details. No, that won't work. Anyways, we'll figure it out. Because that's the difficult thing, is I'm trying to balance the time we have here with baking. Because when I bake this, it has to take at least 30 minutes to bake, probably like 10 or 15 minutes to cool down. But yeah, this is looking really good. I'm really excited with the way that's looking. It's just like the next level of our little guy here, you know, pushing things even further. You can use glass eyes, where you insert the eye and you sculpt the eyelid around it. There's all kinds of different ways to do things. Will the body armature be the same as what you did with the sketch? Yes. Yes, it'll be the way I produce the armature for this is the exact same way I'll produce the armature for the final version. So when you're working on this, you know, the back of the head we're not really worried about. So the way I'll bake it and the way I'll set it down is kind of on its back, and you can use pieces of clay to kind of hold it up so it doesn't roll onto the side of the face. Okay. That's just how I'll deal with that. But okay, so that's gonna end what I'm showing you guys for today. So like I said, homework by the end of this class, and to start the next class, you should have the head on both sides shaped out, kind of fully rendered without the details, without textures, just the shapes. Okay, and then just push the shapes, push, and until you just can't really see what more shapes to do. And then we will next Sunday we will start the texturing, and I'll teach you how to do all the texturing, get it all the way to the point where we're baking our face. Okay, so will the head end up with wire to attach to the body? It doesn't have to. The foil, we used enough foil here that's gonna be strong enough to hold it. So I probably will wrap wire around the foil and then attach that to the wiring on the skeleton. And we'll probably, even once we got the head bent where we want it in position, we'll probably pack on some steel stick, some of this here, to solidify it, to harden it. But yeah, so I look forward to seeing what you guys do with everything I showed here. And we're gonna jump into our feedback round. So the class is officially finished. We're gonna be doing feedback, which we do every week. So If you guys do join and follow along and you would like some feedback on your work, you can send picture. You can post pictures and videos in Discord of what you got going on. And in this, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be keeping up with this live. This is not intended for you guys to be actually following along and like being able to keep up with how fast I'm making things. Really want you to take your time and do as best you can. And don't worry so much about trying to keep up, okay? It's because you have the videos and you can use the videos to pause and to really work through these steps. I'm working very quickly because I have a lot of experience, and I'm also trying to work quickly so we can demonstrate everything in a timely manner. So please do not stress about trying to keep up. So post your work no matter what stage of progress you're in. And also, if you're following along in the previous class, the Woodland Gremlin class, you can still post your updates there, and we'll get to the feedback round for that after we do the dragons. So let's see here. Let's jump into Discord. And let's look at the dragon class here. So we're on hashtag week 1. We use a hashtag system. So when you post your work, if you want review for next class, next week, do hashtag week 2 for the dragons and hashtag week 18 for the woodland gremlins. You have to put it somewhere in your description, okay? So, let's see here. Oh wow, we got a lot of people following along. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. So usually I'll type in here, I'll go hashtag week 1. There we go. Oh, see, I wonder, is this going to show us woodland gremlin posts? Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought there was a way for us to just search in the dragon class. Hashtag. Wait, let's see, let's do hashtag dragon class. Nope, that's not gonna work. Well, oops. I guess we'll have to figure out we'll have to figure out a different system for that. Okay, well, let's just go through this manually. Type in the search box. Type in dragon class, right? Search box. Dragon. Wait. Dragon class. And maybe hashtag week 1. No, that's not gonna work. Do hashtag D2, D3. Oh yeah, maybe we should do it like that. G, so hashtag G18 and hashtag D2. Okay, oh, okay, I see. All right. In dragon class. Okay. Let me just copy pasta what you wrote there, Plata. All right. Oh, look at that. You guys are so smart. I'm not a Discord wizard, unfortunately. Only a wizard of the clay. All right. Okay, good. So the hashtag system will work just how it is. Perfect. All right. All right, Mel. Afternoon. Using monster clay, this poor dragon has been made and unmade so many times I wanted him peering over a log looking at a squirrel or a frog in a playful way. I think his front legs need to come further over the log, and I think his hind legs need to be bent up a bit more to make the squat look more natural, perhaps. these are the third wings and smallest. Pondering makes them a bit smaller too. Okay. Also, experimented with different shapes of faces. I have to say, I could have spent many more hours just playing around. Really enjoyed the sketching process. Yeah, this is exactly what it's about. It's about being loose and really figuring out what do we want to do. Now, there's the reality is you have to remember there's a million bajillion right answers, right? So you just kind of have to. I just kind of find something I like and I just go with it. You know, it's like so try not to get hung up too much on the options, but it is good to really use that time to experiment and play and try different things, because it's like shopping for a car. You don't know if it's the right one for you if you don't look around first and compare it to what's already out there. You know what I mean? So like you might look, let's say you look at one car and it looks great and everything looks awesome about it, but without looking around and seeing, okay, is it actually a good price, you know, compared to these other ones? Is it a good car? Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, by going through many iterations, you're refining your ability to see what actually is a good design or a good thing. So it's a good thing that you're doing that. So the more repetitions you do, the better the design should get. So all right, let's see the work here. Okay, see what we're going for here. Yeah, I would bring, okay, I see the dilemma here, because with the pause on the log, naturally you would put the butt up higher, I would say. But no, I could see it being more like, you know how when a dog's all playful and they're like kind of like laying down, kind of like that. I would look at how a dog lays down and how their legs bend. Like if you want the butt to be lower, then this right here, the hock, would have to be tucked under, just how a dog sits or lays down. You ever see a dog that's laying down just like out front, not on their side or anything like that, but just like front, and the way their legs kind of tuck under? I would see that being more like that. Definitely cute. I would say the eyebrows definitely look a little bit more sinister, but if you add eyelids, that would change it. If you just added an eyelid there, but of course, just a sketch, of course. Oh yeah, these different versions. Yeah, definitely the butt. Definitely the butt. If you just tuck those legs, you know, the leg goes this way and it's tucked like under the butt and not forward like that. This is like he fell backwards onto his butt on accident, kind of a pose. Let's see, the front legs. I think the front legs work. Perhaps you could have the butt. Oh, I mean, yeah. Let's see. Usually with a playful kind of pose, I would imagine the butt would be up and the legs would be lower. Right now we have the butt lower and the legs lower. This is more of like a laying down pose, if that makes sense. I'm just trying to think of how we could change this, because let's say the legs were straight like this and then the butt was down, then it would look like it's sitting. So I could see, yeah, that would definitely need some playing around. Definitely, if you want to keep the pose the way it is, I know it will read more natural if we tuck these legs under here. Definitely. Let's see. No, you know, that does look good with from that angle on the front there. I would slide the log a little bit more forward so or you know what can help this is you have the kind of wrists resting on the log like you do, but then have the paws are kind of forward like this, but have the paws more like this, like he's grasping the log, if that makes sense. That with the butt being sit properly, and then the grasping of the log, I think that would do the trick. I would say with the shape of your dragon and the anatomy, you need to beef it up more. So he needs just a little. This arm right here is great. That's a good level of beefiness, but like the back legs and the back thigh region for sure needs some more beef, and just all together in the back area and in the belly, you just want to add some more mass. I mean, there are dragons that do look that way, where they're like really skinny little bodies, but I think it would look better with just a little bit more meat. So yeah, that's good. A very successful sketch. I'm excited to see. Remember that. So just the only thing you need to know for this current class that we're doing is the head, right? Because that's all we're focused on. The head, the direction of the eyes, these are the things you need to know. So if you're still unsure about all the other stuff, we got time to figure it out, and you can always go back to the sketch. Like say we're sculpting the final version of the dragon and you're unsure about something, you can just grab like the arm and reposition it, or the tail, or tilt the head. Like this sketch is only purpose is to help you make decisions. So don't get attached to the work here. And so while you're working on the final version, let's say something's just you're indecisive about something, use your sketch like an action figure and like pose it around and come up with the answer to the final version. So right now the only thing we need, like I said, the only thing we need to know is what the head kind of looks like, and what the eyes are doing, and then go from there. You got time to let these things marinate. And then also, if you can find any sort of reference of dogs playing, I would say, will help inspire, help you work through these problems of like getting the pose right, is to find like actual good photos of dogs actually playing in different scenarios. You might even be able to find the exact scenario you're trying to portray, and it's just going to give you all the answers you need to make it look natural. So yeah. All right, PB Sculpt. Head, I'm thinking about inspiration from Clayton. Okay, let's see what we got here. Ooh, that's cool. A little pile of gold. They have a hunger for gold at a young age, dragons. It looks good. It reminds me of those. There's those little dragons in How to Train Your Dragon. The little ones. Got a very similar vibe to it. More lizard-esque. Yeah, it's cute. I'd say I think I'd like to see more, either like more of a tilt of the head, or just something more going on with the pose. Maybe the tail kind of swooped around one way or the other, and then like shifting the position of the wings. We just don't want to create a creature that's too static, you know what I mean? You want it to... I want chocolate coins now. We just want to so the sketches haven't been baked. The sketches are made out of a clay that it never fully hardens, and when you heat it up it gets softer. It doesn't harden. It's so you never bake this unless you're trying to like deconstruct it. So now I use Chavant. The type of clay I use here is Chavant. We saw in the previous student they use monster clay, just any sort of clay that's reusable. Like monster clay, yeah, exactly. Because this is not permanent. This is something we're gonna later, when the final dragon's done out of cosplay, we won't need the sketch anymore. You can hang on to it if you want to, but you could also break it down for raw materials. So sculptor suit, yeah. But yeah, that would be the only thing I would change there, PB. But other than that, it's looking really good. I could see a little bit thicker on the forearms going into the paws. Same with the back legs. Just don't want those paws to be too small. Those ones definitely look a little bit too small on the back. So. But yeah, I like the expression too. Yeah, very good. Happy little fella. Okay, let's see here. Moving on down. Saradini. My son wants a cute dragon and wants it to look like it's standing on its hind legs, begging for a treat. I have tried, but all the comments from family have been that it's looking very anthropomorphic. Can I fix it, or should I start over with a different position? Let's see what we got here. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. So, standing on its hind legs, begging for a treat. Okay. Well, I mean, let's look at dogs again. Whenever a dog is like doing the treat dance when they stand on their hind legs, they have their front paws are more like this. You know, they're more of like, not like this, you know, because this means they have balance, you know, and they're able to walk around on their two legs. So I think that's one thing that's throwing it off. Where if you tuck in the paws like this, you know, and it's more of just the head, and then also more standing straight up and not like forward like this, with the head more up. I think that can fix it. Yeah, so body posture, and like I said, just look at reference of an actual dog doing the standing up on the hind legs and walking around. And that'll help you. I think if you straighten out the spine there, tilt the head up, tuck the arms in more like this, then it's gonna look more like it's not in its natural state of being, right? Like it's balancing on its hind legs. If that's the pose you want to go for. And also the wings should be folded, like folded up like this one is. So everything should be tucked and centered because it's trying to balance on the two legs, right? So yeah, I think that would help. Try it. I mean, that's the point of the sketch, is to just try it. And I'd say worst case scenario, if it doesn't really work out, maybe have it sitting with its legs up like this instead of standing. That will definitely make it look more convincing. So yeah, welcome Raiders. Thank you very much for joining us. We are doing a live class right now, how to sculpt a dragon. So this is the second class we just got done with. So if you missed it, it'll be saved in video format for you to watch whenever you want. And then next Sunday we'll do the third class. So feel free to join us if you'd like. Every week I give feedback to anybody that follows along, and it's totally a free class to join and be a part of. We do have a fund set for anyone that would like to chip in and contribute. Totally, it's not required at all. I want to make this free for everybody. But of course, if you have the ability and you'd like to support what I'm doing, all contributions are appreciated. So thank you. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, I think that would help. Yeah, nose kind of like straight up, and then this, and then more straight. I think that would help quite a bit. Looks good there, Saradini. Hashtag week. Okay. PB. Not sure about the spine spikes. Just cut scissors. Pretty happy with overall. Okay, I think we've seen. Oh, it's good to have a video though. Yeah, and don't worry so much about details. You can change. We don't even care about the details during the sketching. That can totally change. So, yeah, just like I said with yours, just we need to turn some things. Make the tail turn more severe. Change up the wings so they're not the same and like really static. You know, like maybe have one more bent and the other more open, or maybe more tucked but kind of like at different angles. Maybe turn the head a little bit more. I just want you to push the movement of the creature a little bit more. Okay. Let's see here. But yeah, your symmetry is looking good there, PB. Good work. Definitely. Clayton, first time using Chavant, it went pretty well. Definitely need to improve heating. Improved heating solution. Lowest oven setting is 170 and it needs 150. I've had some soupy moments. Yeah, mine's same thing. The lowest temperature on my oven's 170. I just try to like rotate fast enough that it doesn't get to the soupy stage, or you have to take it out and let it cool down just for a couple minutes before you actually start working on it. The ideal situation, I'm telling you, is a heat box, which is like just a basic, you get those construction lamps with the aluminum lampshade. It costs like a couple bucks at the hardware store. And you just put in a heating bulb into that lamp. And then you take a cardboard box and you cut a hole in the top. And then you line the inside of the box with foil, and that's it. And you stick the clay in there, turn the light on. You got a nice clay warming box that's right next to you when you're working. So, well, when I used to teach a class in California State University. We did a summer arts class where I taught students how to sculpt, like a really intensive class. It was always in the summer, and it was in like places like Fresno, which is really hot. It's like, so we would just set up a table outside of the classroom in the sun, and we would just put the clay on the table. So we just used the outside elements to soften the clay. It worked great. Worked really good. So when you needed a new some heated up clay, you just go walk outside and go exchange your blocks. But yeah, okay, let's see what we got here. I think I'll have more intricate back spikes and slightly larger wings on my final sketch. Was fun experience, and I'll be doing it more. Yeah, okay. Let's see what we got here. Yes, we like the videos. Yeah, great job. You know, the small wings do work for this character. I could see them slightly bigger, but I also really like the small wings. It really made me consider doing them smaller. And I was really inspired by your the way you really pushed the idea we were starting with just more animation. So it really looks like it's alive. So a lot of movement. Yeah. Now, one thing I did different is, and you might want to consider this, but the front arm that he's holding all his weight with, extend it forward maybe a little bit, and it just shows the weight of the character, you know. So I mean, he still could be holding like this, but you know what I mean. It's more of like if the arm is extended, like that's one thing I did there. So where the arm is just a little bit more extended, so it's supported not by the muscles, but the bones, you know. So. Yeah, but it looks good. Even if you were to keep it the same way, it would be fine. I like it. I could also see with yours too that this leg is a little bit higher, almost like he's climbing something to reach for something. You know what I mean? Like You can already see it in this leg. It's already posed to be like where this leg is lower, and then the foot is higher here and the foot is lower on this one. So then when you do the base, you'll have almost like a step up situation. I could see that. Like he's like crawling up a little hillside to get maybe an egg. little creature's egg to pillage. Bird eggs. Something like that. Yeah, it's looking really nice. I like your head shape too. Really works. All right. Good job, Clayton. Oh, and then there's me. Okay. I think that's did we get everybody? Let's just check. Make sure we didn't miss nothing. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a week 2 submission. So I do hashtag week 2 for next week. So I want you guys to, if you're gonna follow along with the dragon course, even if you're doing the very beginning, you need to use hashtag week 2 for feedback next week. Okay. So that's it for the dragons. Oh, Kathy here. Oh, okay, no. Yeah, switch this to hashtag week 2. That's a week 2 submission too. If you could edit your post, Kathy, to just do hashtag week 2. We're gonna keep doing that system now that Plata taught me how to do it. So, or you guys, the chat. Okay, let's switch to the gremlin class, and we are going to see what's new over here. Okay, I think we're at hashtag week 17. Okay, so now we do in gremlin class. Hashtag week 17. All right. Toadstool Titan. Not too much of an update this week. I've been working on accents for the ground, and my magic sculpt arrived last night while I was at work, so I'll be able to finish the base soon. Okay, let's see what we got here, Toadstool. Ooh. That's cool. Very nice job. And the weathering looks great. Okay. It's all looking good. Lots of mushrooms. Is that a oh, okay. I thought it was a chicken foot. I was like, why is there a random chicken foot on the ground? Yeah, it's looking nice. But it's a root, right? Like a mandrake root kind of looking thing. All right. No, it's looking good. Great progress. The skull looked really, really nice. Great job. Hashtag week 17. This is the first time sculpting, and I'm addicted. Happy to be in the cnotbusch family. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's jump to where you're at. Oh, look at that. Aaron, now, okay, just a heads up to everybody that's watching. We kind of rearranged things with the new class where we actually have this gallery final picks. It can be videos too, not just pics. I'd actually probably prefer videos if you can. Pics and videos, one or the other. But when you guys finish any work that you've done during the classes, so the gremlin or the dragon, post your final pics there, and then we'll just be creating a nice, awesome gallery. So no messaging, no like typing feedback there. That's just we just want that to be kind of like our class gallery. So if anyone that's finished theirs have posted on the gremlin and the dragon class kind of threads, if you can post your final pics in there, that'd be awesome. I'd like to have like a nice gallery that we can scroll through. So let's take a look here. Wow, that's awesome. There's so much textures going on there that I just immediately get drawn to, like the hat and the way the softness of the face looks, and then the hand, the hand, like really old looking hand. He's a nice fella indeed. Oh, great job with like the litter on the ground. Really natural looking leaf litter. That's awesome. Did such a great job. You guys all did. Everybody that's followed the class, I'm telling you, you all have made successful pieces. Should we post with? No, just we're kind of like starting fresh, Dragon. So just do the gremlin and dragon and any projects moving forward. So we don't talk about those, Dragon. I'm just kidding. Those are the trial run classes. Oh, there we go. We got a nice video. Yeah, I really like the flowers. The flowers on the ground turned out really good. A really successful piece. There's some cat invasion. All right, let's see here. Great work, Aaron. Awesome. Clayton, cross-posting to finals. Really wanted to push my base complexity someday. He will get a butterfly on his finger, but my early attempts aren't good enough. Also, the stump lights are cool, but not near bright enough. I just need to buy the largest LEDs and quit messing with these smaller ones. Great class and great gremlin. Onwards to the dragons. Okay, let's hear. Okay, you posted in the fine. Okay, but let's check it out here. Oh, there we go. Alright, a video critique would be I want it to be a little bit slower. That's just me though. I want to slow that footage down a little, just a smidge. Let's see again here. Yeah, really great job, Clayton. I love it's like this whirlpool of magic is causing the mushrooms around it to kind of have the same colors. But yeah, I see what the effect you're trying to go for is kind of like this glow, like coming out of like a magical cave. It does need to be like intense light, and you would have to point the LEDs directly up and really make a thin layer to like capture the light so it doesn't lose a lot of the brightness. But it's still effective. Yeah, the overall character though, really good. Everything. I think the base looks great, really does. But I know what you mean, because I felt the same way. I still feel the same way about my own work, which is wanting to push the complexity further, you know. So there's always new levels to get for sure. Never ends. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, you're going for like a magical glowing effect. It does read well. I'm sure if you turned all the lights off, it would light up the piece pretty nice. Like turn off the lights in the room. Awesome. All right, morph. All right, let's say this guy is sculpty done. Base / painting will wait for after holidays. Okay. Still need to add a visual thing for holding the barrel, but it should be like a small chain added after painting. Enjoy my traveling sir and his mount. Okay, let's see what we got here, Morph. Okay, there's the turtle mount. Wow, that turned out really good. Dang, Morph. Great job. Look at getting that head start on that scale practice for the dragon class. Awesome. Lots of, just a cool design, man. Mounted characters, just so much fun you can have with mounted characters, but it's a lot of work. And anytime you add 2 characters to a piece, it's just creates a ton of work. But that's the fun stuff, man. I love that. With the bags, there's all the accessories. Man, that's so much fun. Man, let's just make some more woodland gremlins, shall we? Next class will be mounted woodland gremlins. Oh, jeez. Inspired by Morph. There he is, the rider. Aw, he turned out really good, man. You did such a good job. He's pulling the carrots out of the bag, so 37-week course for beginners. Yeah. We're gonna grow your patience today. Project patience. Awesome. I think that's it. Okay. Cool, man. I'm excited to see the base and the finished piece. Very excited. An excellent composition already. A great sculpt. So, okay. Let's check the class gallery. Let's see here. I think we saw these 2 last time. I think we've seen this one before. Let's take a look again. Awesome, man. Every single one absolutely unique. Such a good job. You guys did such a good job. Great bunch of students, that's for sure. Clayton, we just saw. Soldier Dude. Let's see what here. Ooh. Look at those tasty morels. Awesome. I like the greenness of yours and the plant life in between the mushrooms and all that stuff. Turned out really good. Ooh, that shovel looks nice. The rock work reads really well. I really like that. Yeah. Did you do that all the way around? Oh, okay, yeah. See that? Seeing it from this angle, I could totally see that rock edge going all the way around, and it would look really good with the moss and stuff going in between. Awesome. A very successful piece there, Soldier Dude. Well, I like those little white flowers or whatever that is right there. Awesome. Very good job there, Soldier Dude. That is a piece to be proud of. Alright, let's see. Aaron. Oh, we saw Aaron. Okay. Lou. We've seen this before, but let's take a look. I'll take a look here. So cool. Straight from the storybooks. All his companions. Oh, that's right. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. Alright, dragon. Let's take a look here. Very nice. That's such a photogenic piece. It's like ripped straight out of a illustration. He might be the bad guy in the story, though. I don't know. I think he's hunting for mushrooms to create poisons. Everyone hunts for mushrooms for different reasons, I suppose. Even the bad guys. Just the way you pose the hand and stuff is just really awesome. Like really pushing the boundaries of like expression. So, yeah, very good. Okay, I think that's it. I see a Gremlin class edition. Make sure we didn't miss nothing here. Okay, no, just comments. All right, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's the buzzer. Class is finished. Thank you everybody for joining me. Let me give a shout out to our supporters today. Let me just scroll through here real quick. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Bean, thank you for the raid. ArcZ, thank you for the 4 months of support, subscription. Shelly with the 2 months of support. Yeah, that's weird. Why isn't that shown? Oh, oops. There we go. I had the goal thing turned off. Oops. Let's see what else we got here. Courtney, thank you very much for the raid, Courtney. And let's go over to our contributors today for the class fund. So it's thanks to these people that we can continue to make free classes like this. Anybody that's contributed to the sculpting class fund, I appreciate it. Today we had Dark Stitch, thanks for the class, $5 tip. Thank you so much, Dark. Susie Reed with $30 added in. Thanks so much. I enjoy learning from you. Well, thank you for supporting me. I appreciate it. And Atham, am I saying that right? Atham, I hope, says thank you with $50. Very, very generous, my friend. Thank you very much. And Art by Arwen with a $10 added in. Thank you guys so very much for helping make it able so we can continue doing this stuff. So, because I really would like to we would just keep doing these classes where we'll work through projects together. I'm telling you, I've been down this project road before, and you will realize every single project we do will teach you something different. So, and it gives us the repetition of going through some of the steps over again to like building an armature, the basic things. But every single character I've ever made has always taught me something new, even to this day. So yes, thank you so much for supporting that cause. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's get a raid going here, and I'm gonna get on out of here. I'll be back tomorrow for our normal stream week. We'll be working on Alduin, some dragon wings. I look forward to continuing. I have to get my homework done for the dragon here. Let's see. Who shall we raid today, folks? Let's go raid Miniature's Den. Let's go check out the painting side of the force with probably one of the best painters I've ever seen. One of them for sure. Figure painter, and he's working on something really, really crazy detailed. So let's go take a look, shall we? There's always more to learn, always more limits to push. We're never done. Okay. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.